that work is rest. And, unfortunately, the work never ends. We're never, life really doesn't stop. Even when we are being still, like our cells are still working.
Yeah, got it poppin' and I'm letting them know. Strategic moves with Kenn and Dr. Radio show. Real talk, authentic trust, you don't wanna miss it. Talking art, politics, culture, and business. Yeah, entertaining and educational, this is major. Special guests, I'm talking plenty movers and shakers. Cleveland in the house, the time is right now. Strategic moves, radio show with Kenn and Dr. Time to motivate, inspire, and right now, this is what you need.
WOVU LP Cleveland, a Burton Bell Car station.
So let's go. Strategic moves with Kenn and Dr. Radio show. Let your voice be heard. Time to elevate. Ay, call in or talk to me Tuesday. Ay, let your voice be heard. Time to elevate. 95.9 FM. Tune in and don't wait. What's on your mind Tuesday? Streaming on WOVU.org and 95.9 FM. You don't just listen. Jump in and be the conversation. Let's go.
Hey, what's up? What's up, everybody? You tuned in to another episode of Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell and Dr. Heather E. Burton. We're here live at the WOVU 95.9 FM studio. And today we're going to have a whole lot we're going to talk about. Our special guest is coming in is Pastor Aaron Phillips. And we got a big topic we're going to tackle today. We're going to talk about these churches. You know, these churches out here are doing their thing. And I always had a thing for the church. And people who don't know me knew I grew up as a PK, believe it or not. And since then, I've been really having my bouts and things with religion here in Cleveland, Ohio, and around the world. But today we're going to talk a little bit about something that just took place that's we've been working on, and you've been hearing us on this radio show talk week after week about, and that is what's going on at Target and the protests that we were doing at Target and that kind of things that's getting things going around nationally. And there's a group of preachers who have came in now who decided that they want to go ahead and fight against that. And they went ahead and sold us out a little bit. They went ahead and actually took some money in the mix of our protests. So, it's hard enough, us as Black folks, trying to stick together and prove that we can do something in unison. And it's hard enough, I believe, for preachers these days and pastors to get people in their church and get things up and going. So to have this kind of division take place right in the middle of everything that we're doing is really tragic. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to play a clip. And when we play this clip, I'm giving everybody a heads up. The clip is going to be a little lengthy clip. I want y'all to check it all out because it's going to be interesting. But before I do that, you know who just flew into place. She always flying in here when she got to fly in here. She just flying in here now. You hear her breathing hard. She running everything. She just came into place. Everybody, let's give it up for Dr. Heather E. Burton in the house today, y'all.
Dr. Where's my applause?
Yeah, we all gonna clap for you today.
Uni.
Okay.
Hey, Kenn.
Latifah at the door if you don't mind. So, how you doing today, Doctor?
I'm doing.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There we go. There we go.
I was trying to tell deep about the door. Apologies.
That's okay. I'm all
welcome.
But look, the applause goes with me. I'm always late, so it
right.
matches.
It just matched. It came right along with you.
I'm gonna do an applause instead of your traditional intro from now on.
Hey, so what I wanted to talk to you. How was your weekend before we get started?
My weekend was good. Yep, my weekend was good. I'm trying to remember the weekend. So,
oh, you must have had an awesome weekend. You can't.
No, I don't think I did. I think I was just busy.
Oh,
it was stuff back to back. I think I was busy.
Just staying busy.
Just busy.
Well, that happens. You know, I wanted to get a chance to. We had some news that happened here in the neighborhood, and I'm gonna let Unicorn give us an update on what goes on. We had a big emergency and an accident that happened over here in Garden Valley yesterday, I believe it was. And she's going to give us an update. And if you want to get involved and how you can help out, she's going to give us some information on that. Go ahead, Uni.
Yes, if you are not aware, there was a huge house fire in Garden Valley yesterday. Over 20 families and apartments were affected. Some people walked away with literally nothing but the clothes that they had on their back. So what we are doing, we are asking you if you would like to donate, whether it's cash, as in debit card, not actual cash, not debit cards either, gift cards, excuse me. If you would like to give gift cards, clothing of any size, blankets, anything that you need in the household, hygiene, anything that these families need, we are accepting donations here at WOVU Studios at 7201 Kinsman Road, Suite 102. If you would like to donate, please do so with a cheerful and a giving heart. We appreciate all donations that will be given to these families affected by these fires yesterday, and thank you.
Hey, Uni, is there a certain time that we can drop off donations, or can we drop them off at any time?
Yes, from 10 to 8 p.m. here at the station. That's 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. We will be here. Someone will always be here at the studio to accept those donations. Thank you so much, Doctor, for that time reference as well, because that is important.
Not a problem, man. That's something big that's going on in our community today. If you haven't seen it on the news, it's going around, and everybody needs to be careful. They don't know what was the cause of this fire or anything right now, but I know it was a big one because it was lights and transformers that went out with this thing, I believe, because there was lights out all the way over on 55th, 40th, Midtown area. It was all out. So I don't know if it had something to do with that or not, but yesterday it was the lights were out, the stop lights and a few businesses were out. And I believe this morning my wife was telling me down at the county they didn't have any power down there.
They lost their power.
Yeah, so something big. This is a huge thing, and I don't know if it's all connected, all in it together or not, but it's something that's going on definitely in our community that we want to bring to light to everybody. And 95.9 FM WOVU is going to be one of the places that's taking the lead and trying to get resources to the families and the people that are over there to try to get this done. Councilman Richard Starr also has been on the case on social media, making the plea for this as well. So I think it's a good thing. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to get ready to get started on this thing. Lateef, you good over there, sir? All right, sound like we're ready. We're going, well, like I was telling everybody, I want y'all guys to hold on with us because I'm going to play this clip, and this clip that we're going to play, like I say, it's a long clip, but it's worth it. Now, after we get done with that clip, we're going to go into a commercial break, and after that break, we're coming back, and we'll have Pastor Aaron Phillips. We're going to have Dr. Heather E. Burton, myself, Lateef, Uni. We're all in the house, and we're all mad at the preachers today. And that's what we're going to talk about.
Right.
Now, listen, hold on. Here they go.
You can't be saying we mad at the preachers.
Let me say, I'm going to take it back.
You got two preachers in a room,
right? All right, now, here they go bagging up. Now, yesterday on the phone, my man said, I'm going to let them have it. So I'm going to tell you today, I am still mad at the preachers
today.
There's a difference between...
I'm mad.
Right.
Don't you love me?
I didn't say
I
didn't. And you love me.
I love
I did
you,
not
Kenn
say
down.
every preacher.
You love that. You said preachers though. You better qualify. You better put
preachers.
No, you're not mad at this preacher. You're not mad at this preacher.
Nope. There's that generalization
again. We tried to school
Lateef,
this young man.
roll that bean
the Lord.
Roll that bean
You ain't mad at all the preachers.
I'm mad at all of y'all.
Y'all ain't mad at all of us. It's like I ain't mad at all the politicians.
Something is wrong today for those who try to hide Jesus just in classism, who tried to hide Jesus in elitism, and something has got to break. You mean ain't none of them evangelicals gonna say nothing about us bombing 3 different bases that had nothing to do with us? You mean nobody is gonna say nothing about us spending $47 million for a parade that nobody showed up to? Ain't nobody gonna say nothing about how the Trump family's net worth has gone up by $5 billion in the last 6 months. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing about him lying about the airplane that ain't even for the U.S. government, but is for his own family method. I
declare unto you today, I'm a free black man. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Somebody gotta say something. Gotta say something. For the last 18 weeks, we've been boycotting Target. And said there's no way in the world we going into Target where black people were spending $12 million a day. We said to Target, you got to do 4 things in order for us to walk into that store. Is that you got to invest $250 million in the black banks. Number 2, you got to honor what you said, the George Floyd family, and invest $2 billion in the black business. Number 3, you got 27 of these stores on white campuses, but not one at a HBCU. You ought to partner with 6 HBCUs with their business programs so that young people will be able to scale their business and do a national franchise. We said to you that you've got to reimagine what DEI is, and absolutely 16 weeks later, you didn't deliver to us. Even after we made your stock drop, even after the CEO salary was cut by 42%, even after you lost $12 billion in valuation, but you thought you was gonna go around me and go to the National Baptist Convention and sell out for $300,000. Are you crazy to think that we gonna sell out for chump change? You must not know who we are. Our Father is rich in houses and land. In 1961, the National Baptist Convention was meeting, and they did not want to support a young preacher from Georgia named Martin Luther King. They said, you speaking too loud about civil rights. We don't want you to do all of that. Just preach and sit down. Don't march. Don't make a stand. Don't challenge the government. And as a consequence, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Gardner Taylor walked out of that church and started the Progressive Baptist Convention, where we come in full circle. And I need you to know it wasn't just the National Baptist of America. It was also the National Baptist of USA. It was also the Missionary Baptist. It was also the Church of God in Christ. And the $300,000 was not per institution. They gave them Negroes $75,000 for them to just sit down and roll over. Not me, Jack. I called the president of the National Baptist Convention. I said, Rev, we can't go out like that. We are selling ourselves short. He said, Jamal, give me a couple of days. Let me get the board together. I said, bro, you can get your board together, but Sunday morning I'm going to the mic and I got to say something. And you got to give me something to work with. He said, Pastor Bryant, give me a couple of days and I will do it. I said, you got 1 week to send me in writing that the Baptist Convention stands with the boycott, stands with the oppressed, stands with the marginalized, stands with the nameless and faceless people who are on the front line. $75,000 Baptist Convention, I'll write you a check. You can't sell yourself out for $75,000. Something has got to break. Over the last couple of weeks, Target been playing in my face. Been hiring internet influencers to go online, rappers and artists and athletes to play and to broadcast outside of Target and in Target, thinking we ain't gonna say nothing. But you ain't got to talk directly to me. All you got to do is watch the rerun of The Color Purple. Until you do right by me, nothing you do is gonna work. We will break Target, we will break Dollar General, and we will break any company that doesn't honor our dignity while they trying to take our dollar. The devil is a lie. There must be a God somewhere. Don't you let them delude you into believing that Christianity is a white man's slave religion. Our God been with us from the beginning. On his way to Calvary, it was a black man who took the cross off of his shoulders and took it up the hill. Y'all forgot when Jesus was born, they hid in Egypt. And if they hid in Egypt, he couldn't have had blue eyes and blonde hair. But the Bible said he had hair like lamb's wool and skin like bronze. Look at your neighbor and tell him you look like God. Something is wrong today. Something is wrong today for those who try to hide Jesus just in classism, who tried to hide Jesus in elitism, and something has got to break. You mean ain't none of them evangelicals gonna say nothing about us bombing 3 different bases that had nothing to do with us? You mean nobody is gonna say nothing about us spending $47 million for a parade that nobody showed up to? Ain't nobody gonna say nothing about how the Trump family's net worth has gone up by $5 billion in the last 6 months? Ain't nobody gonna say nothing about him lying about the airplane that ain't even for the U.S. government, but is for his own family mecca. I declare unto you today, I'm a free black man.
Hey, now we're back. That was a segment of what we're going to be talking about right after the break. It was a long piece. That was Pastor Jamal Bryant, and he was speaking on what we're going to talk a little bit about today, and that is the breakup of some of the situations that we were doing as it relates to the Target boycott, and how there are some pastors. I have a group of pastors here who just really tried to take me through the ringer over this. While I am mad at some of these pastors out here today, they won't let me say all of them because that includes them. So I can't say all of them because I'm not mad at them. But I'm mad at most of these pastors. And it was beyond the Target thing, as I stated when I started the radio show. So it's not beyond this. This Target situation is just a step and a situation that's been brewing, that's been building for a long time. And I've been bringing in Pastor Phillips and others to talk about that as it relates to the church and the people who go there and why people don't go there. And a lot of it has to do with what's just took place. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back from that break, we're going to bring in Dr. Burton, who is my person, all things, who talks to us and let us know what's going on. And she actually wanted to, one who really brought this to my attention. And we're going to talk to her a little bit about it. And we're going to have Pastor Aaron Phillips to come in and defend the clergy. You know that's what
that's not what I'm doing.
That's what he's gonna do, y'all. He coming in here to defend the clergy. All right, so we'll be right back.
I'm the worst thing they ever. I'm one of you.
What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic on Your Mind Kenn Dow Radio Show. What's on your mind Tuesdays? Call in, comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM, WOVU.org, and hit us up on social media. Let's go.
This is WOVU 95.9 FM, Cleveland's urban alternative.
What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dow Radio Show. What's on your mind Tuesdays? Call in, comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM, WOVU.org, and hit us up on social media. Let's go.
Features workshops, one-on-one coaching, and youth-focused sessions. For more information, visit phoebefoundation.org.
What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dow Radio Show. What's on your mind Tuesdays? Call in, comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM, WOVU.org, and hit us up on social media. Let's go.
Civil legal services to individuals and families with low incomes across Northeast Ohio. Their work includes support with housing, domestic
What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dow Radio Show. Show.
Lake,
For
and
What's on Your Mind
Georgia. More
Tuesdays.
information is
Call in,
available at
comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM, WOVU.org, and hit us up on social media. Let's go. Let's talk art, culture, politics, and business on the Strategic Moves with Kenn and Dr radio show. Call us on 95.9 FM WOVU. What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn and Dr radio show. For What's on Your Mind Tuesdays. Call in, comment,
Hey, what's up?
and
What's
connect
up,
on
everybody? We're
WOVU
back.
95
Everybody
FM,
in this studio is
WOVU.org,
fired up, man. Y'all just
and
don't
hit us
know
up on
what's
social
happening in here,
media.
man.
Let's
I
go.
done started the war this morning, but we're gonna get
You
started.
did.
I guess I did. You know, it's a spiritual war going on in here.
That's right.
I'm still mad at those pastors, except the two that's sitting here.
That's right.
Okay.
I love you, my brother.
And I imagine as my day go on, a few more pastors will call and ask me the same thing, and that list will grow. But as of right now, for this program, Dr. Burton, help me out here.
Well, I think we're going to go back really quickly, and we just going to clarify that I think a lot of the debate started in this general conversation about generalization. And that's one thing that we have to be careful of in anything we talk about is generalizing and making everyone monolithic and everybody the same. And I think when we think about this clip, and this has really hit home for me. One, I am leadership within the National Missionary Baptist Convention of America.
Oh,
right. And so I hold a national office as over our intergenerational women's ministry.
Hold on. Pastor Phillips.
That's good. Yes, sir.
Why are you looking at her like that?
Because he listened to me talk.
Because I'm listening. What are you talking about, man? She's
like
talking.
you.
She's talking good. I listen.
At her like
when people are talking, I listen to them.
He listening to me
And
talk.
I'm looking at her straight in her eye. I'm glad if I'd have known that, I'd have called her yesterday. I called if I would have known that she was a national officer in the town, she would have been on my list to call too, because I called all the ones
y'all
here.
just don't understand what's going on in here, y'all.
Come on,
Yeah,
talk.
and
talk,
but,
talk,
you know,
talk.
this is really disheartening.
Yes,
And it's disheartening for several reasons. And especially when we think about the history of conventions, where conventions went, even when we talk about the separation, the splits, and everything that has happened with conventions, it's also shaped in the faith and shaped in the Black church. But when we talk about, and all, you know, when I saw this clip, the only thing that I thought about from the beginning, forget, and there's so much that goes into this, because when we think about this statement that was put out by Boise Kimber, who is the president of the National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated, when that statement came out, then there was a lot of follow-up, and then there was follow-up from the other conventions who were at the table as well. So we can't minimize all of the conventions that were actually at the table and having these conversations about this particular subject matter, I'll say it that way, or this coalition with Target. And then in reading a statement that somebody sent me the other day, and I can't reveal my sources.
You can reveal them.
I cannot reveal my sources because I need sources all the time. You know, that's journalism 101. We don't reveal sources.
Well, I want to tell my
and so in that, with this particular statement, it talks about what this coalition was supposed to do. And they also brought in somebody else that's supposed to be like this business owner. And I'm trying to think of his name.
Willie Wilson.
Willie Wilson.
Chicago. I know him too.
Willie Wilson from
personally.
Chicago. And then if you Google
wait.
Willie Wilson and you see some of the stuff that he's engaged in, Willie
He's
works
on
closely with
McDonald's.
and Walmart.
There you go.
So
Supply. He's
supply.
chain
Yeah.
millionaire.
And I think the
ran for
thing
the
is,
national
when we
president
look
of
at this
Baptist
from an
Convention.
economic lens,
The deacon.
we came to the table and we, how do I say this? We
sold us out.
Not only sold us out, and I don't want to just use the word sold us out.
What else can
but
you use?
I mean, that is
you
a
can
word.
say on the radio,
but
well, this is a Christian radio.
but we just dumb.
Ooh, I like that one.
Because
you right about that.
Because I'm
like
looking
that.
at this from a let's look at this from a mathematical lens.
Oh, you can't even do it. Don't even do it.
From a
Don't
mathematical
do it.
lens.
Don't do it.
Dr.
Don't
tell
do
us.
it.
And
It's gonna
so
really embarrass us.
what
this
that math
is
look
showing.
like.
This is showing just This is just showing when we talk about just math, is that you would take, and I'm just loosely using because I don't even know. You might know this, Pastor. Is I'm believing that the numbers that were in Boise Kimber's letter were
31,000 churches.
I don't. Is that's
7.5
everybody?
million.
That ain't
The National
USA.
Baptist Convention.
That ain't USA.
USA Incorporated.
You
That's what
think
he
USA?
said.
I don't think USA got no 31,000
I didn't
churches.
say that's what it was. I said that's what was in the letter.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's get that.
And that's why I think that 31,000 is all of the four conventions together.
No, he said
he did say that,
he
but
accredited the National Baptist. Listen, listen. You talking so good. I really appreciate Dr. Burton. You know, I didn't know.
I still want to go to my math,
preacher.
but I still need to go to my math.
I didn't know that you was a preacher, but you doing the math right. You can't even calculate it. Roland Martin broke it down to less than $10. That was over
$10 per church.
Yeah, and that was with 300,000. It's less than that.
But that's what I'm saying.
It's so ridiculous. How can you calculate that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if you have 75 million people, you didn't even get $1 for every person. You should at least came to the table and said, I want $75 million. And then I also think about calculation. Let's think about this. $300,000. Now, if this 300,000 is being divided by the other conventions, but even if you're not, if you're dividing, if you take 300,000, you saying it's going to scholarships, going to economic development. Can I finish my math? Before you start yelling and interrupting.
Preaching so good.
When you take that 300,000 and we talk about scholarships, if you look at the average cost of a student, how many scholarships we giving? We giving 10 scholarships. Okay, we giving 10 scholarships. That's 40,000. You got 40,000 times that 10. We at 400 now. We ain't even made 10 students we can service. But then we also going to take that 300 and talk about economic development and community development. This is what I'm saying mathematically. Sitting at this, but it's not even about the lying. Mathematically, that's why I use the word sellout is one thing, but this is just dumb.
That's what I'm saying.
Because sitting at the table, sitting at the table, and that you actually say that this is supposed to be a good faith effort, this 300,000, that 300,000 can't even scratch the surface of what is necessary within the Black community.
Dr. Burton, I wasn't that good in math, but I know a lie when I hear one. They were lying. And that's how you
but
know
let
they
me say
stealing.
this, lying about
that's how
what?
You know they don't care about the Black community. Listen, I was at...
Stop, Pastor. I need to question you first because you said they're lying.
And slow down, brother. I know you
right.
hype.
I know you.
Let's have a show.
Right.
Don't just keep
we got it. But they lying about what? Because here's my thing. A business gave you, it's our responsibility as the church, and I'm going to use a convention. It was our responsibility to negate and say, no, 300,000 ain't even what we that ain't even should be on the table.
Okay, I need 20
So
seconds.
I need to see what the lie.
Let me tell you. I'm going to tell you what the lie is. You know, there was a fire across the street yesterday. They didn't care about what the tone of the tender. When there's a fire, you got to say, there's a fire. You got to yell. You got to scream. The house is on fire. These men of God are lying us, telling us they took some money on the pretense. They're not taking it. They're going to pocket that money. No, we're never going to see accountability for that money. You can't lie to. You can't.
That's what I want you to point out was what the lie.
You can't rain on me and tell me that it's something else. And listen, people in the streets, they know they lying. So if we in the church as clergy, we look like we're part of the lie when we try to defend it or we try to act like, oh, this isn't that. We need some more facts. Did you call this? Listen, we need to call people out. I don't need a whole lot of information. $300,000? Are you kidding me? And you're going to put a statement out about it? And you know there's a national boycott against Target from Black America? We have people, my dear friend, Kenn Dow is working with a group of people who's helping the boycott. They have a whole Dow ticker. And that's what we're talking about, Ken. Those are the same people that Jamal Bryant is supporting.
Correct.
So those folks are working every day to boycott, and they're keeping data and recommendations. That's my friend. I'm in partnership with him. So now what you're doing, you're going against what Black people like me and my friend Kenn Dow are doing for $300,000.
But I'm going to stop you right there because you bringing up two different points. You're bringing up two different points. And so there's one point in terms of them lying and pocketing the money, which is your accusation. And your accusation is that they're lying and pocketing the money.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
But that's what you said when you called them liars.
Yes.
But I'm just saying.
You said they're lying and they're
pocketing. So you said they're lying and they're pocketing the money. So that's an accusation that, and I'm not discounting it or anything like that. But it's a bigger thing, whether it's lying and pocketing the money or whether you using it in the benefit of saying it's for the community. Either way, if we're talking $300,000 for a community. And you talking 31,000 churches.
Okay.
31,000 churches mean 31,000 communities. Now, my math be mathing. I started in biomedical engineering. I got a little calculations behind me. Right. If you talking 31,000 churches, that means 31,000 different communities. Mm-hmm. So how can it even fathom that you can say 300,000?
You saying
exactly?
And when they had what she's saying is when they had the first meeting and they came there and they put 300,000 on the table, it shouldn't have ever been a discussion in the first place.
However you want to say it, it doesn't matter. It's wrong. Wrong is wrong. You can take it to the degrees of wrong, but when you go to hell, there may be a 1st degree hell, 2nd degree hell, 3rd degree hell. Mm-hmm. It's however you want to characterize the wrongness of it. It's all wrong.
So hold on.
I'm here to talk about what's right.
Then. All I said was, I'm mad at the preachers, and they jumped on me. But Uni, didn't he just call the preachers a liar?
I called those organizations.
They were stealing.
I said these are organizations.
Allegedly, they were stealing.
I am talking. Listen, hold on, Ken. I don't need nobody interpreting for me.
I
can talk for me. I'm like the guy in the Bible.
I'm
a grown man. I can talk to myself. I am talking about those organizations that went to the table to go against what black people are doing across America. Let me be clear. I don't know. They don't need no interpretation. I am very serious. I am passionate. You can't be mad because I'm passionate about this situation because this is my lane. I live in this space. I represent the clergy in the church. I've been talking about how we need to build up the church, to build up the community. This goes directly against what I'm doing every day.
But we
cannot
confuse. Hold on. But we cannot confuse the listening audience as to what we are talking about.
That's what I'm saying.
Now,
that's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Listen, you are very intelligent. You don't need an interpreter. I know that. But we have to make sure that the listening audience understands what it is that we are conveying to them. Yeah, I love your passion. You know I love you. But we just got to make sure the people know what we are talking about. That's all.
Okay, go ahead.
Good.
I was going to say, I love the passion too, and I understand the passion, and I get upset behind the black church, especially when we think about the history of the black church, what the black church represents, and where we are now, and really thinking about when we talk about a liberation theologies, what it looks like for us to really, really set folks free, and set folks free based on economic stability, social, mental, educational, and that is not what's happening. And I think that's what we have to point out. And the reason that I use, and I was trying to use another word than dumb because I couldn't think, but my vocabulary is limited today. And here's my thing, is that you've got these organizations and you've got leaders of these organizations. And this is a disconnect yet again with the church, specifically when we talk about leadership within many of our churches, is that you should not be the person at the table because you don't know all of the ins and outs when it comes to economic development, educational development, and any other thing that impacts the black community. And this is what happened in this particular case, is you got people at the table. And let me say this, and people can disagree with me or agree. I am a minister. I preach the gospel. But here's the thing about it. What I do realize is that often those of us, and I'm going to categorize myself, those of us who are engaged in leading churches are not equipped to handle every facet of the church in terms of administration, in terms of leadership, because all we've known is preaching.
And that's
obvious. When you're talking about organizational development, when you're talking about creating things, hold on. You may disagree with me.
Let me jump in.
I have watched it.
Let me jump in on that one because
I have watched it and I have seen it. And growing up, and let me say this: I have been a convention child, born and bred in the conventions in Congress, and I have watched it. And having been in leadership within organizations. And studying organizational development and organizational leadership, the place that lacks the leadership is the church. And so, we gotta be honest.
Let me jump in on that.
I know we don't want to say this and don't accept it.
I'm 100% agreement with you because that's been the issue with the church to the day, from my perspective. Everybody got their perspective. From my perspective, I've been in a lot of meetings with pastors from some of these other organizations just around town here. I done been in there where I done seen organizations and people come to their meetings and they sit in and they talk and they bring them information about there's a program that you can use in your church to help your church do better. Here's a program if you want to get some vacant lots to help you build the senior citizen building you want to build. Here goes there's resources that were available for them. And I watched year after year, you watch all of those churches, only a handful of them are able to uh, um, get that opportunity. Most of them, to your point, and they do a lot of preaching and stuff, but they lack the administration, they lack the building structure it takes to put it together, they lack all the other tools in order to do it. And if those are the people that are sitting on those committees that are helping to make those decisions for people in the Black community, you're going to have that. And when you do look at the number of activism preachers, and when we say activism, we mean the ones that are active, not these people that are just talking about their activism. The ones that actually act there doing activism in our community is very few. Just like with this situation here, Pastor Phillips is upset because it's a slight to the ministerial thing that he is really grew up in, and he fights for it. I get that. But the fight that me and him have all the time is the fact that it seems like he's the only one fighting. He's going to be the only one going to be here screaming today about those pastors. He's one of the only ones who's going to get on the phone and call and scream to try to get stuff done. And that's one of the problems that we're having here in Cleveland. We're going to take a quick break. And when we get back from our break, we're going to come in and continue this conversation. I think we got Pastor Phillips to kind of take our woosah. And when he come back, we're going to talk to him a little bit and we're going to get this thing going again. Be right back.
Cleveland, what's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dow Radio Show. What's on your mind Tuesdays? Call in, comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM, WOVU.org, and hit us up on social media. Let's go. What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dow Radio Show. What's on your mind Tuesdays? Call in, comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM, WOVU.org, and hit us up on social media. Let's go.
A journey through the incredible legacy of one of the pioneers of African American music. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for the one and only WC.
What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dow Radio Show. What's on your mind Tuesdays? Call in, comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM, WOVU.org, and hit us up on social media. Let's go. What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dow Radio Show. What's on your mind Tuesdays? Call in, comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM, WOVU.org, and hit us up on social media. Let's go.
Ranked among the most influential artists in all of music history, Handy didn't invent the blues, but it was his early songs that first used the word.
What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dow Radio Show. What's on your mind Tuesdays? Call in, comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM, WOVU.org, and hit us up on social media. Let's go.
From the 216 to the world, WOVU 95.9 FM, Cleveland's urban alternative.
Support for WOVU comes from the 100 Black Men of Greater Cleveland and the Greater Cleveland Association of Black Journalists, presenting their second annual golf outing on Saturday.
What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dow Radio Show. What's on your mind Tuesdays? Call in, comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM, WOVU.org, and hit us up on social media. Let's go.
By emailing chairman@100blackmen.cle.org.
What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dow Radio Show. What's on your mind Tuesdays? Call in, comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM, WOVU.org, and hit us up on social media. Let's
New
go.
child care location in East Cleveland, providing a safe, nurturing space for kids. The senior department is open Monday,
What's up,
Tuesday,
Cleveland?
and
It's time to
Friday
turn up the
with activities
conversation.
like bingo,
Tune in to the
exercise
Strategic
classes,
Moves
and
with Kenn Dow Radio Show. Show. What's on your mind Tuesdays? Call in, comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM. WOVU. Get ready, Cleveland. Hit us up on social media. Let's go. Call in and tell us what's on your mind. Join the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dr Radio Show on 95.9 FM WOVU. What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dr Radio Show. For What's on your mind Tuesdays.
All right, we're
Call
back.
in.
We're back. We're continuing this conversation as we get into what was going on with the National Baptist Convention and all the things that's been taking place with the boycott and the pastors taking the Baptist Convention and a few other groups getting together and settling out, I believe. And we don't know if it's settled in, or if it's going to come back out, or if it's still up for discussion. But there was a amount of money, about $300,000, that was promised to organizations to join in with Target and to get back with Target. And doing that defeats everything that we were fighting against as it relates to the boycott. The boycott has been one of the most successful boycotts that African Americans has been in the last, since boycotting we've been doing, I guess you could say. And with that being the case, this comes as a blow to the community. And to me, it comes to a blow in several ways. One, in the fact that there's a divisive in that. And I'm going to tell y'all, is one within the clergy, because I'm sitting up here with two clergy people and y'all don't know what I'm going through. And I'm trying to tell y'all. So it's going to be, that's just in this room and they're just talking. But so I know there's going to be a divisiveness in the clergy realm with that. Pastor Phillips has been going around doing his calls and hammering and talking to folks. So we know it's going to be there. Dr. Burton, in her position of where she's at and working with it, it's going to has a lot of questions and people are going to be talking to her about that. So this is going to be a really big thing in our community and weigh it face down. It also hurts in the fact that we know that the church itself has been suffering from trying to get people to come back to the church and get back into the church, especially bringing in young people and things of that nature in that. And the difference now that I want to put out on the table so we can kind of change this up a little bit is that social media, it plays such a big deal on everything that takes place. This Jamal Bryant video and other videos that are going to be going out surfacing. Hey, you're watching us right now on our social media network, and people are going to be watching it, and we re-show this show over again. So with that being the case, my issue that I'm getting at is that the messaging is important for everything. And as a Black community, we're going to look pretty bad on this one, Pastor. And you're going to want to talk to you a little bit about how you think we kind of move forward in trying to bring that back, because people are going to see that. Young people are going to see this online, and what they're going to look at is going to look like, again, the church has sold us out. It looks like the churches took that. They're going to see people in divisiveness between religion and other folks who are going to be throwing them under the bus. Other churches are already putting out letters saying they're not a part of that organization. So how do you see this affecting us down the road? Phillips, yeah.
Well, that's why I'm here, to make sure people know that, because one organization that has the name Baptist in it does not mean that's all people who are Baptist. I had several of my members who even called me to say, Pastor, we are part of that convention. We need to cry loud and say it, that this is not who we are as Baptist people. I do pastor Baptist church, and I am aware of this of the organization, but that is not representative to who we are as a people. I believe strongly in united Black leadership. I can't stand how this was done. This is one of the reasons why we as Black people can't progress, because we don't know how to be unified. There's no way you would even want to have a conversation with Target, knowing that we have other African-American leaders who are also preachers and others of other social persuasions who are working on a regular basis to boycott Target, and it has been effective. Why would you want to even go behind the door to even have another meeting without those other leaders? There's several things that's wrong with this. I believe in what I preach. I believe that we ought to have a unified Black community that keeps us strong together. So we should have been having the conversation conversation with the people who are already in that protest. That's all I am saying.
But
And that
hold
is,
on,
and those are
wasn't
folks,
those people already in there? Jamal Bryant was
he was
at the
already
table.
there. So if
why did
Target,
they do it? Why, so hold on, slow down. Why, if Jamal Bryant was at the table, because you're saying they should have had those discussions. He's at the table. He's leading the march on this. He's the number one guy.
yes.
And as he said in the video, they went behind his back.
And that's exactly what I'm saying, that those, you're restating what I just said, maybe because I said it so passionately. What I am saying is those leaders of the National Baptist Convention should have been in conversation and working with Pastor Jamal Bryant. That's exactly what I just said. I'll say it twice to make it even more nice. That's what we need to be doing as a Black community. What has always happened to us, it's Willie Lynch all over again. This is nothing new. Keep the people divided. Like they're trying to keep us divided because we're talking about the same thing. We got Willie Lynch theory in us. We are so divided, we can't be united about what's wrong. This is what is wrong with us. What these people, they have misrepresented Black people. Do you know the church has always been the voice of our community? So when you come in and start dividing us with our own church organizations, that is horrible. We all should be on fire about this. It's a testament about who we are as individuals, that we hate ourselves so much that we can't work together.
But how do we now? I'm not trying to play devil's advocate and everything, and the church always being the leaders within the community. And so, yes, the Black church has always been at the table historically when we think about movements and that sort of thing.
Yes.
But there's always been a divide also in terms of when we're talking about the Black church and systems of oppression and how we handle things. And so the question becomes, when we see this as our role model, as a blueprint as to what just happened, how do you suggest we come together to be unified? And here's the other thing. One of the problems in terms of unity and being unified is that this is a great example of what just occurred here behind the scenes when we were off air, is that everybody's saying the same thing, but because of the passion and because of the level of conversation, so much was missed in the delivery.
That's correct.
And so if this continues to happen, what's the suggestion in terms of how we become unified? Because everybody's passionate when it comes, I'm not going to say everybody, many of us are passionate when it comes to talking about the community, when it comes to talking about issues of race. And very often in that passion, and I keep going back, what has just happened here is that the message was lost because we're not listening to each other.
Okay, I can answer that if you want me. Let me tell you, the answer is this: this is not our first time being here. Okay, I've been doing this for a minute. We did come together back in the 90s. All of the Baptist organizations came together with a unified thing. We can do this. This is something that can be done.
What y'all come together for?
We came together just to bring unity among the African American churches, religious organizations, because there's like 5 Baptist groups, and they all had one huge meeting in Atlanta. I was a part of that. So we do have a history of knowing. Just let me answer.
I just want to ask, what was the outcomes of that meeting? Unity.
Let me say. So this is why I say this, Doctor. Because we think this is the first time this happened.
No, I don't think nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying
I'm
that.
trying to answer your question. Okay. So the first thing we have to do is understand we have been here before. Okay. So let's not make the same mistakes that we made when we was here before. This is not the first time we've been divided and conquered. One of the mistakes we have always made when they try to come and divide us, we try to act like it didn't happen. We try to act like this is not happening for real. Then we try to act like we don't want to, and people don't stand up and hold people accountable. I've seen that happen over and over again. We don't hold each other accountable when we see the Willie Lynch theory happening to us. It's, hold on. No, we need to do something about this. But because of social media, that's one thing about social media. There's always been people critical like Roland Martin who would be speaking to the church like he's doing, but never with the platform that they have today. Okay, so what I'm saying, so let's not make those same pitfalls before. Let's get together with the people and let people know. That's why I have a great relationship with Kenn. I want people to know we all of us are not like that. We do want to work together. There are some people who don't believe in that they do not represent us. And those of us who want to work together, let's keep on working together and let's stand against that. I'm gonna send a Brother Jamal. Well, I want you to know our church is with you. So we need to start. Those of us who are sounding the alarm, we need to even have more participation in the boycott. Stand even further with Jamal Bryant and the group that they're doing. Let the leadership know. If you're a part of the Baptist convention, you say, listen, I'm withdrawing my membership. I'm not giving my money, and I'm letting you know. We're letting the people know. We are standing together as a community. There are things we can do, but we have to start with truth. And we have to start with history. And that's why it's good to have people who've been here before and good to have people who are new to this so we can all come together because we all hands have to be on deck. That's why I'm so grateful we're bringing young people to this. But these young people, you can't lie to them. And if you can't tell these young people, listen, I just talk to these young people in the streets. And I'm the same way about everything. I was on the front lines at Target with my bullhorn. Protesting against Target right here in the steel yard. You can catch me on video. Matter of fact, Kenn and I went together. So how can I be doing that but not have the same kind of bullhorn against the people that are part of the organization? Now, he doesn't understand. You are actually going against what I'm doing locally. That's ridiculous. So that's why I'm so passionate about this. This is who we are, and these are the steps that we have to take to educate our community, to bring us together, to listen to each other, and to, and start trying to have these. I had so many calls. Pastor, be soft about this. No, why? Why not? If Trump is doing something crazy, I'm gonna talk about that. So I'm gonna talk about this as like that too, because we have to be true to this movement.
All right, so I want to go ahead and we talked about all of this stuff. Now, everybody got their thing off. We all got a understanding of where we're trying to go with this. And as Philip said, this is something that hasn't happened before. We done seen this before. The video started out with Pastor Jamal Bryant talking about when young Pastor King came to town, how the Baptist conference was against the stuff that he was doing then. So again, our people being in a position of us being divided is something that we've been battling with from the beginning of slavery, from the first brother who got on the boat to the last one who got on the boat.
That's right.
We always been trying to figure out a way to try to one up each other. And it's just a sad sense of things that's going on. It just really hurts when you see it comes out of the clergy side of things because of the fact that you would have thought that someone as vocal as Jamal Bryant, someone as out there and get as much ink and social media play and views and everything, that they wouldn't have the audacity to kind of do that. And I think that's my major piece on that, is just the audacity of them being able to just go behind right in everybody's face and to make that decision. As Pastor Philip said, they could have deal when they were all at the table. And as Dr. Burton said, hell, the deal when it first came out, when they came with the deal in the agenda of the meeting, when they saw it, they should have known that it was a problem then, and they should have caught it, and they kind of let it go along and kind of move on to the point of where we are right now. So with that, Doctor, I want to ask you, what you see as our next steps? You involved a little bit in the inside a little bit. So what do you suggest people do?
I agree with Pastor Phillips, though, in terms of supporting these conventions and as churches, is that we've got to stand up and hold them accountable, hold the leadership accountable. And which is why I made phone calls yesterday trying to figure out, I need to know, where did NMBCA stand in this? Where was the National Missionary Baptist Convention involved? Where did they stand? I still ain't got concrete answers yet. And I was trying to get them before we did the show, but I didn't. But we need to hold them accountable, because I still go back, whether it's Target, whether it's Walmart, whether it's anything that has pulled back from DEI, which was the reason for the boycott. Is this pullback from diversity, equity, and inclusion? We have now allowed Target to dictate what they're going to do in terms of the community and in terms of the, the points or the bullet points in terms of what they're going to accomplish based on what they're giving us, instead of us saying, no, that's not what we came to the table with. And going back, yes, that's why Jamal Bryant was someone who should have been at the table and having these conversations. And I think that's still always, when we talk about unifying, is one of the disconnects that we have is we need to be unified, but we never have what our outcome is. what it is that we hope to obtain and get as a whole.
Let me tell you
specifically
this,
when we talking about
Dr. Burton. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that's
a
real problem.
all day.
But listen, that's a real problem because I need to give you some facts. That's a real problem. There was a plan, a unified plan that Pastor Jamal Bryant had with the other folks who were working, and they put it in writing. That's why I wanted to just, and here, let me give you the 4 bullet points that they were asking for to happen as a result of the boycott. So they're not just boycotting for boycotting.
Oh, yeah, I know Jamal Bryant. No, I'm not even accusing of Jamal Bryant. Wait, let me clarify. I'm not accusing.
$250 million into the 23 Black-owned banks. The establishment of retailing and training and centers of HBCUs and bringing back DEI principles. They had a plan.
Because one of the issues that Jamal Bryant brought up was that you have these targets in predominantly white institutions on their campuses, but you don't have any within HBCUs.
Exactly.
And so there was a plan.
There was a plan.
And so I'm not saying that there was not a plan for that, but yet again, and I don't care what anybody say, when we talk about power and when we talk about money and when we want to talk about being in control, it happens within these convention spaces and it happens within the church. And this is an example of let me step and do to be the one that's controlling the narrative.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break because when we come back, we're going to let Pastor Phillips. Oh, you want to just finish it off? Oh, well, we're going to finish off, so we're going to do it right. And Pastor Phillips, I'm going to let you go ahead and give us your closing remark. Then Burton, you give us yours. I'm going to give you mine, and we're going to be out of here. So go ahead, Pastor.
Well, I just wanted to recapitalize. The reason why we need to have unity, and they should have been joining with what was already happening, because they did have a plan in place, which added up to about $2.8 billion. They sold us out for $300,000, and that is a huge problem. That's why we need to clearly understand how important it is that we work together, because we need freedom. We don't just need the freedom from our own oppressor. Sometimes we need freedom from our own selves. And I would pray that we could learn how to work together, listen to each other, generations coming together, men and women coming together. I am so proud to be sharing a microphone with a female preacher. Like, we believe in that. We believe in equality. That's what we should be doing. Even when we disagree, there's a way to do that. And we need to learn how our common goal is, at least for me, I want independence. I mean, many of us could have just given these conventions $300,000. We have people who in our community can do that. You don't have to do that. So I want us to get independence from ourselves.
Dr. Burton.
Yeah, I ditto to everything that Pastor Phillips has said today. I think this has been a conversation that was needed and a conversation that often happens behind the scenes, but we don't discuss it on air. I also think that when we talk about being unified, we have to come to a place where we understand what's our strengths and what's our weaknesses. And so if I'm coming to the table, and I give myself as an example, I'm a good writer. I can write, but I suck at proofreading. And so I'm not going to try to proofread the document because I know it's going to be errors in it. And so if we begin to understand what our own weaknesses are, when we come to the table, we find those people in our organizations that have the strength to be able to guide and dictate the conversations. And we will get a lot further. And I think that's another disconnect is as people, we have this thing to think that we can do everything and that we're gifted in every area. But the reality is we're not. And so in that, you find the folks that have this strength or that strength, you bring them to the table to make sure that what's being negotiated, what's being said, how we're unified is done in a way that is going to be adequate and successful for the entire community.
Don't y'all call them deacons?
No, I don't call them deacons. that ain't the purpose of a deacon, Ken. Ain't the purpose of a deacon.
Hey, let me tell everybody this, because this do touch home with everybody. And I do a lot of joking and I talk this, but I started off this program and I told y'all I was a PK, and I truly am. And my grandmother, just to show y'all, she was the president of the Women's Auxiliary Board of the National Baptist Convention growing up as a kid. She was there for several years, her and Reverend Small, both. And they traveled around the country and they did this whole thing for a long time. She did that. So I understand, and I got history with that convention and understand it as well. So I got a little bit of a right to say I'm still mad at all these preachers out here for saying that. Now, Lateef, go on, bring my boom footage. Bring the next footage up. We're gonna play this closing remark I got because I want to tell everybody thanks for tuning in to Strategic Moves with Kenn Dow, Dr. Burton, and Dr. Burton for coming on, and Dr. Pastor Reverend Deacon. He does it all in his church.
I'm not the deacon.
He said he ain't deacon. Pastor Aaron Phillips for coming in. He was passionate as usual about these things.
I'm gonna give Pastor Phillips a massage, so
hey, he ain't gonna turn that down.
So we can relax for a little
we
bit.
just finally seen a smile on his face.
Right,
there
we
you
got
go.
a smile. We need him to relax so he can do this work.
He
I need
finally
him to
smiling.
come back.
There
That's
you go.
all I need to do to get a massage.
Say, break.
I did that a long time ago, you.
I was gonna say something else, but I can't give you.
We on air. It's not the podcast. You got me together, Lateef? All right, here, play that footage.
There are members of the coonocracy who operate in the favor of the white power structure and against the interests of black people is the religious bourgeoisie. And I would argue that the religious bourgeoisie is the most dangerous because they have the most control over the way black people think. They never point the finger at systemic inequity, systemic injustice, or systemic racism to rock black people to sleep instead of waking them up to organize against oppression. If you really are trying to lead your people away from the devil, why are you so comfortable with your people living in hell?
Cleveland. WOVU LP Cleveland.
What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dow radio show. For What's on Your Mind Tuesdays. Call in, comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM.